It was about 3 years ago. My grandmother was diagnosed with lung cancer, and we were given some information about hospice in our local area, and it got to the point where she needed to be with them, and I became her sole caregiver at that time. And I had taken off work. I dumped myself down to 1 day a week, and I was basically by her side 6 days out of the week and working with my family and taking care of her and just being by her side in the last few months before she passed. It was difficult, but at the same time it was an opportunity for me to give back to her after everything that she's done for us. So to be the only person with her for the last 3 months of her life was the most impactful thing, because you learn so much about her, and just even though she's not all there completely all the time, but just things she kept repeating and her favorite things and her past life, and it was nice to be there to learn all of that before she went away. So it was there was times where in the beginning it was hard trying to make sure that you gave her all the right medications, and it was stressful because you wanted to make sure that you were writing everything down, and when you made her food, making sure that she was eating, and when she wouldn't eat, it was frustrating because you wanted her to eat because she needed the nutrition, but she would refuse and get mad, and she still wanted to smoke her cigarettes and drink her alcohol, and so it was. There were nights when it was very difficult, where I would just have to lock myself in the room and cry because I didn't want to lose her on my watch. So that was really one of the hardest. The hardest thing was going to bed every night not knowing whether you were going to find her awake and happy, or whether you're going to find her awake and frustrated, or whether you were going to wake up to her not being there anymore. So there was difficult times, but it was, my friends and my family were there to always lend me their ear so that I could talk to them about any of my frustrations. So, and it was nice that my family worked with me to give me a day where I could get out in the real world and go either work at my job, or take some time to myself and be with my friends. So that was always nice. I mean, my family, my dad and my sister, we just came together and just made sure she was always being looked after, either by me solely, or my dad would come in and spend the night with her, or my sister would, or we'd have a nurse there if we all wanted to just go out and discuss, what would happen when that time came. So, but yeah, there is. She was obsessed with the football player Joe Namath. And where we're from, which is the Palm Beach Gardens area, Joe Namath is in that area, and the hospice down there made sure that they got in contact with Joe, and he gives back to the hospice. And he called her a couple times and just talked with her, which made her day, because every time you'd walk into her house, there was a picture of Joe sitting right next to the couch. So she was obsessed with him, knew everything about his kids, and she just would repeat the story over and over and over again, and would just tell us how Joe called, and we got to talk, and he told me, I asked him about his daughters and the house, and just he talked to her about a bunch of stuff. So it was just really nice that she got that opportunity to actually talk to him, because she used to, before she got really sick, she would drive around to Cuesta looking for his house to see if she could get a glimpse of him, or she would see him while she was driving, so she'd try to follow him. She was a little stalkerish, but it was nice when she got that opportunity, and she would play his tape all the time. We would just watch it over and over, his biography that she had recorded, and then we would watch Elvis. That was the other thing. We'd watch his tape all the time and just enjoy that together, and that was just something she at that time could relate to, and it was nice to have that. So anytime I hear Elvis or I hear Joe Namath, it just kind of reminds me of her. So They were in there at least twice a week, once a week when we first asked them to come help us. And then they were in there twice a week. And the great thing is we didn't have to bring her to the facilities, the hospital. We were able to get a hospital bed from them. They donated it to us, and we were able to set her up in her living room and take care of her at home, which is the way she wanted to go, was she didn't want to be in a hospital. So they at least gave us the hospital bed, and they were there and supplied us with all of our needs and made sure that we had the medication and that we had a nurse that could help us out as much as possible. And then when we did need to bring in a nurse that we needed to pay for, they were able to give us a contact. So that was wonderful. And they took such good care. I mean, anytime we needed to bring her to the hospital just so we could clean the house or needed to do something, or if she got really, really bad, they would come pick her up. We'd get to follow them over there and get to be with her. So it was just, I can't thank them enough, because they helped us out so much with everything. So they made it a lot easier than it probably would have been just us doing it by ourselves. So whenever we'd go to the hospital, they'd always come in their hospice center there. They would always just come and talk to us, make sure that we were doing okay, we could call and they'd give us updates on how she was doing. They would even call us on a weekly basis just to touch base with either my father or the house and make sure that the nurses were coming in and doing what they were supposed to do when they were scheduled, and just making sure that we had everything that we needed. And it was just a great relationship. And even when she took the turn for the worse, when we went to the hospice center, it was just, they consoled us, they comforted us when we were upset about everything and her leaving, and it was just, they were just so, sorry, they were just so wonderful just about her being there. And she had gotten a DNR, so they just let her sit in the hospital room, and we were able to sit there as long as we wanted to, which was phenomenal, but probably one of the hardest things I've ever, just to sit there and watch her die. It was really hard, but it was she had taken care of us when we were little and always made sure that we were fed and changed and all that. And so when she got into that point, it was our opportunity to give back and to take care of her and feed her and clothe her and bathe her when she needed to be bathed. And it was hard, but thank God for hospice, because I really don't know what we do without their support, because they made it so much easier than, we didn't have to worry about calling an ambulance. They came, they got her, they picked her up, and they just took care of everything else. I'm gonna go do more of their fundraising side. I wanna help, get the word out about their mission and what they're doing to make a difference in the lives of caregivers and patients, and just helping fundraise, spread the word, get people involved, and let them know about the services that they offer. Because, if we hadn't gotten that contact from the right people that said, here, this is hospice, you should contact them, they will help you, we wouldn't have known. So just to be able to be that advocate for the hospice, I would love to. I just want to get involved and let people know what they do, because it's so important that we know what a difference that they're making, and how they really are all about the life and making sure that they live to the utmost at that last point, just making sure that everything is how they would want it to be. So I'm really excited to be a part of the program and just to give back. So.